Ashley, and I'm one of the pastors on staff at Risen King. And we thought we would do something a little fun tonight, which is get to know our pastoral staff. Something that I think most people know about our staff is that we like to have fun together. And so I'm hoping that this will be just a fun evening of getting to know one another. So don't be nervous, guys. I'm not going to grill you. It should be fun, lighthearted. Just going to ask you some theological questions, put you on the spot. At the end of this interview, you will all be ordained with the Christian Missionary Alliance. I'm totally kidding. So I just wanted to start tonight by simply having you guys introduce yourself. So I'm thinking, Mr. Isaiah, why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, your family, and how long you've been in ministry.
For sure. Well, my name is Isaiah Velez, and I am from Nyack. I was born and raised in Nyack. I went to Nyack Elementary School, Nyack Middle School, Nyack High School, Nyack College, a true Nyack head. And I just got married last year in July to my wife, Francesca. And so we're about to hit 1 year in July, which is really, really crazy. I've been in ministry since January 2017 officially, but I mean, I've always been involved in Risen King. I've grown up at Risen King. I've been there since I was 11 years old. And so this place has tremendously impacted my faith. Not only impacted, I think it's just been a foundational part of my faith. So it's been so cool to be able to go from a place of volunteering to then be a part of the staff officially and to be able to lead the youth and now the young adults. It's super tremendous. Don't have any kids just yet, but they're coming soon at some point. You'll hear about them eventually, but not just yet. We definitely have that in our plans, but yeah, it's been awesome to be able to grow in this community and to be a part of Risen King. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So what kinds of things do you like doing at Risen King?
I like to obviously be able to minister, but I think my favorite part about being a part of this community is just what community does to you. It gives you room to grow into all of who you are. It's awesome to just belong to such a great place, to make friends, to make deep friendships, to find mentorship, and to be poured into by people who are further along in life and the Christian journey, and in the faith. And I love to rap on stage and do weird stuff that's not normal, that's creative and different. I love to think outside the box and to do ministry in an outside the box manner. And I love to empower people to do that as well, especially because the Holy Spirit is where we get all of our creativity. So it's just awesome to be able to be given the room to play a role in that way at RK.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Let's see who's my next victim here. Miss Ami, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, and what you do at Risen King? Hang on, you're muted. Let's unmute you. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm Ami. A lot of people call me Miss Ami because I'm the children's director at Risen King. A little bit about myself. I was pretty much born and raised in Long Island. I am married to Mr. Carlos Martinez. He is the drummer. He's been on camera for a couple of Sundays here since we've been in quarantine. He's drumming away. And we have 2 children. I have an 8-year-old, Caleb, and a 4-year-old, Ariella. And we are Hispanic. We're Puerto Ricans. We love ourselves some rice and beans. Spanish food. But one of the things that I love about Risen King and just being a part of the community there is just growing with everyone that, especially on staff. I feel like coming onto the staff with a lot of people that I've known from Nyack and just being a part of a great team. It's been great to just grow together as not only in our relationships, like in our friendships, but also in our working relationship. And I love to worship at Risen King, and I love to minister to children. I love meeting everyone, like new faces that come to the kids ministry, and meeting new families, and just being with the kids and worshiping with them. We had a worship night tonight, and that was so much fun on Zoom. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me and what I do at Risen King.
Awesome. And how long have you been at Risen King, Ami?
Well, I've been serving at Risen King in the children's ministry for 3 years, about 3 years. And but we've been attending Risen King since my son turned 1, like consistently, and so we've been there for about 7 years. We did get married at Risen King. How many people in here got married at Risen King? I feel like no. You didn't get married at Risen King, Ashley? I thought you had.
I did not.
You got married at Risen King, so we've known Carlos attended Risen King as a student there, so we've been there for quite a while.
Awesome. Awesome. One thing I forgot to mention is that I'm coming to you from a 10-year-old boys' room. This is not the normal decor of the Tringill home, so just wanted to throw that out there while I was thinking of it. Anywho, Thomas and Carol, can you guys tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, tell us about your family, and just kind of even how you came to Risen King?
Sure, yeah. My name is Thomas Park, and I was born and raised in Korea, and I came here after finishing high school in Korea, so about 20-something plus years. So it has been quite a time. And we have my wife and I, we married actually about a week ago. We celebrate our 20th years of anniversary. Well, yeah, thank you. And we have 4 children. They are kind of grown up, not really fully grown up, but pretty older. 17,
16, 14, and 10.
I can count all, I cannot count them all, but
but Carol remembers.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, we've been in Risen King about 3 years now. We came out of our old church, and as we're being, in ministry, we're her, and we need to refresh, and that's why we end up being at a Risen King. It was one of the healthy church I believe in, and we love, we dream about healthy church, and we found one.
Yeah.
Not the perfect one, but it's very healthy church. So that's why we love to be here.
Healthier than any other place that we had ever been, I think. So, and so we have 4 kids, and we came here just to receive, and we decided to transfer our denomination to CMA. I went to Nyack College, and so it was kind of like coming back to where we wanted to be. And then so we ended up doing that, and then felt the Lord call us to church planting. And then when we were trying to church plant, and it wasn't going, the momentum wasn't building. And so the district asked us to come back to Risen King, which we were like, sure. The issue will be, I don't want to leave.
We were like, sure.
So we ended up here, and we love it. My whole family loves it, and I think that's kind of hard. Sometimes the adults like it or the kids like it, but all of us, our whole family, we just love it here. So
that's awesome, and we love having you guys. So what kinds of things do you guys get to do at Risen King? What do you enjoy doing?
I mean, we are, I think we are supporting role, and we're supporting all the staff, and anything that goes on, and any help that it needs, we're willing to help. And not like a particular role, but we are like everywhere, wanting to help any way possible, and we love that at this point. Yeah.
Yes, we love that about you guys. You're so willing to serve wherever. So thank you. We appreciate you. Awesome. All right. Let's see, Danny and Kathy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, just your family, where you guys are from originally, how long you've been in ministry, and even just some of the things that you get to do at Risen King.
Sure. All right, I'll kick it off. All right. So, I was born in Korea, but I came here when I was 1. So I was basically born and raised here in the United States. I lived in the Bronx during the amazing Mets 80s. So that's when my love for the Mets really began, much to the chagrin of this Yankee fan. We'll talk about that later. I spent most of my youth and young adult years in northern New Jersey. And so even though my wife and I and my two little girls live in New York, in my heart, I'm still a Jersey boy. What is it? What else? Ministry. So I've been in ministry, pastoral ministry since 2002. I started out as a junior high pastor. And then after that, the Lord, for whatever reason, wanted me to be a worship pastor. So I did that. And then I took a weird left turn. God led me to be a director of an international nonprofit organization, raising Christian leaders around the world, which was an amazing experience. But then I still knew God wanted me to be a pastor. And then that's when he led me to Risen King right now, where I've been serving for almost 3 years now as a growth group coordinator, and as well as overseeing our hospitality team. So those folks who are welcoming you in the parking lot and the front door and the cafe, those are the folks who I have the honor of serving with.
Nice.
So my name is Catherine. Danny's my husband. And I am New York born and bred. And I follow the premier New York baseball team. So
as do we at the Tringale household.
There will be therapy down the road, and that's fine. We're open to that. Let's see. We arrived here at Risen King a few years ago because the Lord was leading us out of our former church context. And we were looking around for where we could put down roots and form church family relationships. And there were leaders here and friends here that we knew and trusted. And so we came here to rest and heal and be restored. And God did all of those things. And then this one came on staff. And so as he's been doing on the ground work at church, me and our kids have been supporting him and just kind of showing up and reaping the benefits of everyone's love at church. And so that's been really wonderful.
That's awesome. But Kathy, you do some ministry. I'm not trying to say do. You do ministry. Can you talk a little bit about that? What kind of things you do even outside of Risen King?
Well, I am Korean, so I do love talking about doo-doo. So we'll come back to that later. So I do work full-time outside the home, so I do consider my workplace to be a place of ministry. So in terms of secular work, I work on a team that serves very vulnerable babies and their families at Columbia Medical Center. And then I'm heavily involved with the Empower program, the leadership development program for women, where we call women into their callings and the destinies that the Lord has written for them. EmpowerWW.org. We're coming to a site near you. Registration is open right now for Empower, Engage, and Proclaim. So go to the website and check it out.
Empower. Woo, woo.
Empower household. So
awesome.
And I love doing that.
That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Thank you guys for sharing. You guys are awesome. I'm trying to decide who I'm going to call on next. I think I'm going to put Gabe on the spot. I know Gabe pretty well, but I think he should still introduce himself. So Gabe, tell us a little bit about yourself and your amazing family and your amazing wife and just all of the amazing things about your life right now.
Sure. I'd love to. It's funny, I was going that direction anyways. So hi, my name's Gabe. I'm married to my lovely wife there on the screen, Ashley, for those of you that don't know. We've been married for 13 years. We've been at Risen King for 12 years, coming up here just in a couple months or a month or so. So I grew up in Northern Kentucky, suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. Spent some time both in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. And then I went overseas and lived in the Caribbean for a couple years and did missions work. Then came to Nyack College. And my first experience at Risen King was playing music, playing in the band during worship at Risen King church services back in 2004, 5, 6, a little bit. And then after I graduated, came on staff. And so, yeah, that's me. We have 4 kids. I don't want to steal your thunder, Ash. So I don't know if you're going to talk about our kids, but
No, that's you. I'm interviewing tonight. You're chatting. So
Got
you get to
All right, so we have 4 great kids. The oldest is Jack, and that's the 10-year-old boys' room that Ashley is in. I wanted to make that clarification because she said, I'm in a 10-year-old boys' room. But she never said it's my son. So
Thank you, Gabe, for clearing that up for me. I appreciate it very much.
I know some people have been frightened for the last 10 minutes. Yeah, I think that's all you asked me.
So what kinds of things do you get to do at Risen King, Gabe?
Primarily lead worship and oversee media, AV, media stuff, website stuff, social media. Have a great team of people that work with me. And yeah, so that's primarily my role.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right, Mike and Lisa, we want to get to know you, even though most people feel like they know you. Why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell us where you guys are from, how long you've been at Risen King, even all the things that you guys do, even behind the scenes that not everybody's aware of.
Well, I'm Lisa, and I've been married to this one almost 40 years.
Wow.
40 years this summer.
This August, it'll be 40 years.
Wow, that's awesome. Yes.
We've been in the ministry now for 37 years. We started, our first pastorate was when we were both 24, so that was interesting. We've been at Risen King 16 years now, and I have done children's ministry, women's ministry. I've been in charge of prayer ministry, small groups, and now I am pastor of spiritual life. But in the last year, I've been kind of working on developing a pastoral team in terms of like developing lay people. And I've been really excited about that. That's been put on hold a little bit because of COVID. And I do a lot of meeting with individuals, and I do a lot of behind the scenes for, I like to study. I love to read. I love to study. So I do a lot preparing for our series. So I read all the books and then I bring them to him. How's that?
It's true.
He doesn't always like to read them, so I have to give him the clip notes.
Nice. Nice.
So everything I actually know, it comes through her. So
I think that's what she's saying. I think that's exactly what she's saying.
It has been an amazing 16 years. Lisa grew up in Kentucky. I grew up in Mississippi. I don't think either of us ever thought we would end up in New York. And yet, in so many ways, we both feel like we were made for this place. I feel like I'm a New Yorker who was born in Louisiana, you know, the way people are here makes sense to me. And I've just enjoyed so much the kind of honesty and you know, it's not always easy to get people here to trust you. But once they do, they trust you very deeply.
Yeah.
Their trust is actually very sacred. It's very important. And that's what we've seen over these 16 years is, you know, the building of trust. And I feel like, you know, we had a dream that Lisa and I brought here. We had a vision. It seems really particularly relevant right now with all the things that are going on, that we wanted to see a multicultural, you know, multi-generational church where everybody felt like they could trust the leadership, and that the leadership trusted them, that there was respect, that there was honor, that people were listened to, that people mattered. And this was our dream, really, to see this happen. And one of the things, I mean, talking about what I love to do, I don't know if I'll get to do this once we all come out of quarantine or whatever, but I love teaching the Bible. And to get up every morning and to share going through a book every day, I look forward to it. It's never burdensome to me. The only problem is trying to keep it within less less than 30 minutes, which I usually fail. But
that's something that I don't think we knew about you. That time,
yeah,
the
right.
timepiece.
Yeah, I don't have an internal clock, and I have trouble even looking at the one in front of me. So, but I have loved that. I've loved that every day we get to dig into the scriptures. That's just been a blessing for me to do that.
Yeah, I think it's been really awesome for everybody just to have that every morning. So that's really cool. So I wanted to ask everybody to kind of tell us something that maybe we don't know about you. So I don't necessarily have to call on anybody if you're ready to share, but what is something that maybe we don't know about you? And if you don't kind of wave your hand at me, then I'm just going to call on you anyway. So, Pastor Mike, go ahead. You're up.
Well, Lisa told me I should tell this. Okay. So all of my life, I have wanted to have long hair. Okay. But my hair just goes up, and out. And I found this product called Gorilla Snot.
Oh my gosh.
It's like Moco de Gorilla, I think is the name of it. And
where did you find Gorilla Snot?
Well, I go to Dominican barbers, and it's a Hispanic kind of hair product. Okay. And so I'm flicking my hair back to see if I can make it go all the way and get really long hair. My hope is there now that I'm going to actually be able to have long hair because I have this Gorilla Snot in my hair. So.
Nice. That is one positive thing that has come out of this pandemic is Pastor Mike's long locks. All right. Anybody else have something that we don't know about you that you want to share? Anybody else put animal snot in their hair? Danny.
I 100% endorse Pastor Mike's long hair. It's amazing. Two things you may not know about me. Because of this coronavirus, I now have a man bun. Awesome.
Yes.
Yes. The second thing is, these are totally unspiritual answers, by the way. Second thing is, I really, really enjoy listening to boy bands from the 90s and the early 2000s.
Which ones are your favorite? Were you NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? That's what I need to know. I
am not prejudiced. I enjoy them all.
Okay.
But I do have to say, I thought 98 Degrees were really, really underrated.
That's true.
They are a solid boy band.
That is true. But did they have more than, what did they have, one album and then a Christmas album? Was that it?
I can't give you the exact facts on that, but
okay.
They had several albums.
All right. Okay.
I'll stop talking about boy bands.
Okay. Anybody else that's ready? Okay, Isaiah, what do you want to share?
I'll share this because I feel it is in the same vein as what Danny just shared. I actually know every single High School Musical song, 1,
Wow.
2, and 3 by heart.
You know all three of them?
All three films touched my life in a very deep way. I went through a tremendous heartbreak in high school, and I guess I lived vicariously through Troy Bolton. So I know all of the songs. I'm not going to sing them, so don't ask. But if see me when we get back in person, this is for the church. Feel free to ask. I might sing a little.
Which one's your favorite? 1, 2, or 3?
The third one is my favorite for sure.
Really?
The first is iconic. The second, I often get into arguments with my friends about, as well as my wife. I just feel the second's not that great, but the third one is tremendous. They got the real deal cameras. They made it very serious. The music was really awesome.
So how often is High School Musical a topic of conversation with you?
I would say at least once a month for sure.
Okay.
So I'm discussing it at least 12 times a year for sure.
Okay. This is good to know. This is very solid information to have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Gabe, what's something that we don't know about you?
I'm kind of in shock after all these revelations. So I'm trying to process how I'm revising my prayer list as we speak.
Okay, but you still have to tell us something.
I'm just questioning musical taste that I just had no idea. I'm just kidding. We'll stay with the musical vein. I mean, I don't listen to it now actively, so I couldn't tell you anything on the radio, but I was a country music fan in the later stages of high school. and into a few years after that. So, you know, if Danny's going to confess boy bands and Isaiah's going to confess whatever category High School Musical is, I'll confess country music. Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, they were my jam for a good 2-3 years.
I think that they might still be your jam, Gabe.
Well, every once in a while.
Okay. All right. They're still his jam. Okay. Thomas and Carol, what's something we don't know about you?
I'll go. You might not know that I guess it was in the 90s when Billy Graham came to New York for his crusade. I was on stage as one of those dancers. They brought up all these groups, and I was with a group of Korean girls in a long dress, and I danced on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my moment of glory.
Could we find this on YouTube?
Please, maybe. If you find it, let me know.
I'm going to need one of you to get on that and find that on YouTube. Isaiah's got it. Thomas, what about you?
Yeah, one of the rare person that you will meet. I don't listen to music, actually. I don't turn on the radio. When I get into car, I never listen to music usually. But I always want to be like Jesus, so I picked up one hobby, carpentry. So the stuff that in our house, like a desk, tea table, I made those things. And
wow,
yes,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. Awesome. All right, Ami, you're up. What's something that we don't know about you? Where'd she go?
So I just turned that off. I am so sorry. Well, let's see. I've been trying to think of something, but I feel like I'm going to tell you guys something that I've always wanted to do, and no one really knows about it. So it has nothing to do with music. I've always wanted to drive an 18-wheeler truck. That
really?
is like, yes, I've always wanted to, I'll drive past them really, really fast on the highway because I am terrified of them and being next to them and being squashed by one.
Yes.
But I've always wanted to drive one. There's something about like big trucks that I like to drive, or like the church van. I know it sounds weird, but I like to drive like big vehicles. And so I've always wanted to ride or drive a 18-wheeler.
That sounds like my worst nightmare. I would never want to drive an 18-wheeler.
Kathy raised her hand.
I know, I saw that. Who else would want to drive an 18-wheeler? Just the two of you. Sounds like you guys are going to be truckers one day. Okay, so I have one more question that's kind of two questions in one. But to move us in a little bit more of a spiritual direction, one thing that we've even talked about as a staff is just how, during this time, there's not been a lot to look forward to, and trying to find things that we're looking forward to. I think that that's not even just been said in this circle, but I've heard other people say it as well. And so, as believers, we can have hope. And so my question for you guys is, how has the Lord been speaking to you, and what is something that you are looking forward to that you can hold on to and have hope in? And I am going to start with Pastor Mike and Lisa.
Well, it has surprised me really how many views or unique or new people have been listening or watching our services, which has made me feel like there is a spiritual hunger. I feel like we have, even though we have to do all this stuff in phases, I feel like we need to be ready for people who are desperate for God, and to be both, just not only as leaders, but a whole community that's ready to welcome people who in this time the Spirit has drawn to Christ, and probably be ready to disciple and to help people begin this journey with God in their life in a meaningful way. So I feel like for me, it's been thinking through that. I think the Lord is really at work, and we need to be ready to just facilitate people's growth and people's hunger that they have for God that I see right now.
Yeah. It has been really interesting, just like the exposure of even our services. Like I've noticed that people who I would never think would tune in or stream are tuning in and streaming our services. So that is very hopeful and exciting during this time. Lisa, what about you?
Mike's actually going to preach on this passage this week about a little boy who's being thrown into the fire, and he's thrown down. And as Jesus is coming down from the Mount of Transfiguration, he meets the disciples who are trying to cast the demon out of this boy. And the boy's father's desperate, and he's telling Jesus, "We have compassion. Can't you do something?" And Jesus cast the demon out of the boy, but then the disciples are like, "Why couldn't we do it? We were able to do this before." And the Lord tells them, "Some only come out with prayer and fasting." I think what's encouraged me is just watching our people in the church pray, because we have a team that's praying Monday night, Wednesday night, Friday nights, and praying on Sunday mornings. We have over 100 of our people in our church that have enlisted to pray and to pray for first responders. And now we have them praying for our community to be restored. And I think it's going to take that kind of prayer. So seeing our people pray, Mike and I have upped our prayers so that, like, we're praying together every day. And just, I think that's what it's going to take. But it's excited me to see our people engaged, like the worship nights that we have every night. God's present, going after his presence. I think that's what it's going to take. But I've seen our people do that.
Yeah, that is exciting. That is exciting to see that happen. And it's exciting to think about what could and will happen at the other side of this. Thomas and Carol, what about you guys?
Well, I didn't get to share in the beginning. I've been pastoring about 20 years. I have a group of friends who are pastors, and this pandemic has been difficult, and some churches are really struggling, and that's unfortunate and sad. But through this pandemic, I'm realizing that Regent King, we are really being the church in the midst of these challenges and hardships. We being the people, not church is not just as a building, but as a people of God, and really living out our faith and all that involves the discipleship. We're being the church in the world and making whatever the impact we're making for the glory of God. And that's exciting to see. And one particular that I'm looking forward to is we're going to launch some this online alpha course in a couple months. So that really excites me, and just the seekers are coming to be exposed to the gospel and online through the online, and that's something that is really exciting for me.
Yeah. What about you, Carol?
I guess the biggest thing I feel like is just I guess personally, and just seeing just the humbling, humbling myself and just being humble before the Lord. I think it's that brokenness that I keep getting drawn to. Just humble yourself before the Lord. And in that regard, just really knowing God is really working. And I'm so, I was thinking, what am I looking forward to going back to church? And my initial was worshiping together, but the more thing that, as I thought about it, was really a lot of baptisms. I feel like, there's going to be drones of people really seeking after the Lord, and that really excites me. And I feel like there's that's where, everything will come. It will be so exciting. So that's kind of something that I've been kind of thinking about.
Yeah, it will be awesome to see, like I said, the other side of this, because it does, like, even though it feels funky and weird now, it does feel like there is another side of this, and that will be very, very exciting. Isaiah, what about you?
While thinking about this question, I kind of broke it down into two kind of responses. I think as pastor, and I think what I've loved amidst this time and what I've seen the Lord do is, I read this article way back in the beginning of this quarantine. Shout outs to Danny Kang. He's one of my buddies from seminary. He sent an article or posted an article on his social media page, and it was about European pastors who had been hit. Their churches had, in their communities, had been hit by Corona before we had gotten hit by it. And they were speaking to American pastors, and they were saying that it's been tremendous to see the church take faith into their own hands. And I think that sometimes we can grow comfortable leaning on the church and comfortable making Sunday our crutch day in some senses. Like, oh, you know, but at least I went to church this weekend. And I think that amidst this time, what I've seen is the youth specifically, young adults too, but it's tremendous with the youth to see them take their faith matters into their own hands. I think a personalizing of their faith. We often talk about the youth making their faith their own, and their faith not just being their parents' faith, but it becoming individualized. And I think amidst this time, that's happening for a lot of them in really tremendous ways. So just being able to see that is cool. So I think coming back, I'm excited to see how that changes our youth group from the inside out, because God is changing our youth from the inside out. Yeah. I think that's going to be awesome. And then I think personally, this time has just been tremendous for me when it comes to the concept of boundaries. I think I'm someone who's never really understood the concept of boundaries, or the fact that God has boundaries, and learning about that and reading books on boundaries amidst this time. It's been cool to meet this part of the Lord that I never knew, and therefore meet a part of myself that I also never knew as well. And I am excited to come back into normal life and to see how that changes a lot of the areas of my life, ultimately for the glory of the Lord. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I think those are the two things that I'm hyped for.
Yeah, it's awesome, because I know you've expressed to me just some of the growth that you felt, and to like almost like get to apply it, right? Like it's kind of being stored up right now. Not that you're not applying it, but even in a bigger way when life is a little bit more back to normal.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think there's
will be awesome to see.
There's some parts of, I think, learning that you can't learn necessarily just on the front line. Sometimes you have to retreat and learn, and then you get to bring it back and try it and apply it. And that's why I think that this time has been super good for me personally. Yeah,
that's really cool. All right, Miss Ami, you're up. What has the Lord kind of been speaking to you, and what are maybe some things that you're looking forward to?
Keep hitting that, turning off that camera. I'm so sorry.
We want to see your beautiful hair.
Oh gosh. So I think for me and my family, I want to say I speak for all of us together, because it's been a roller coaster this whole season. It's been, at first it was like, okay, you know, it's just gonna be a couple of weeks, but then as this has gotten longer and longer and longer, it's been a roller coaster. It's been challenging for my family, for the kids, you know, especially my son having to figure out the whole digital learning, for Carlos and his job, and it's been a roller coaster, but I can say that this time it's been good. Like, God has turned it into good. We've been able to, you know, Lisa mentioned the worship nights that we're doing. For my family, like we love to worship. That's something that we love to do. And, you know, Carlos will grab the guitar and we'll do that together. But to be able to do it on a consistent basis and not be distracted with other things, because we're home. Like, this is what we have to do, you know. There's nowhere to go. Like, there's no other distractions, and so it's been good that we've been able to worship as a family, and also bring that to, you know, our community, our church community. It's been good for my kids to see that, you know, and be able to tune in and watch other people at church worship online, and then like joining in with that, you know, because on Sundays, like, the kids go downstairs and they have their own experience, but it's been really good in regards to like our family coming together to worship, to be together, to pray, to read the Bible and not have outside distractions. So it's been a roller coaster, but God has really turned it around and helped us throughout the way, and united my family, for sure. That's and awesome. What I'm looking forward to, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing new faces. I feel like, you know, being out and using these platforms to connect with people in our community, and also all the things that Risen King has been doing for the community in schools and hospitals and stuff like that. Like, I'm excited to see new faces. I feel like, it's once we open our doors and we're welcoming people in, I feel like we're going to see a lot of new faces that are hungry for God. They're hungry for Jesus, and they've been through this time of, hard for their families or in their personal lives. And I think that people are just going to be so hungry. And I can't wait to see new faces. I can't wait to see new faces of children coming in, and parents, I want to talk about Jesus. I want my kids to learn about who he is. He's been faithful to us throughout this time. And so I'm really excited for that. And so that is something that I'm like holding on to, like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen soon.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good. That is something good to hold on to. It's interesting how a lot of these things are tying together what we're all looking forward to. So Gabe, you're up. How has the Lord been speaking to you, and maybe what's something that you're looking forward to?
Cool. Yeah, I guess first on like sort of a really personal level, this time, it's been like 10 weeks that we've been in this COVID season. This time has definitely been used as a time of like deep reflection. And the Lord has been speaking to me in exposing areas of my heart, areas of my motives that I need to submit fully to him. So I feel like there's been like a big flashlight or a big spotlight on the inner parts of my soul, to put it lightly. That's not intense at all. You can tell I've been reading Rob Reamer. But anyways, so that's been really good, kind of as a personal journey through all of this. And then in terms of our family, we've had way more family time than ever before.
That's true.
And it's been mostly good. There's been some crazy moments of school at home and work at home. And I was finishing seminary semester at home. So that got really crazy and chaotic. But I think the fruit of this is that obviously we've had way more time together. We've gotten closer, and it's going to lead to a lifestyle change. We are not going to say yes to all the things that we used to say yes to. We're not going to schedule every afternoon and every evening like we used to. And I'm really excited about that. And then even kind of applying that to a church level, I'm excited about the purification process that this is putting us through. I think for sure God is using this time to prepare and to renew and restore his bride. And I'm excited about what that's going to look like. I'm really blown away at how well everybody is doing at church that I'm in contact with. A big team of volunteers through worship and media, probably about 50 people close to it. And I'm just blown away at how good they're doing personally. I hear great stories of what God's doing in them and through them, and how much work they're putting in. We got tasked with bringing sort of the entire ministry of Risen King online. And people have just been working so well. And I'm really thankful to be working with them and serving with them. So last thing I'll say is I'm really excited about the first time we get to sing again with a full room. Have no idea when that will be, but I can't wait to hear the congregation sing loud, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a beautiful sound for sure.
Yeah.
Whenever that is. Yeah, that is exciting to think about. All right, Danny and Kathy, how has the Lord been speaking to you guys, and what are you looking forward to?
So for me, having my church community stripped away from me, having outside of this nuclear family, my mom and dad, her mom and dad, our brothers, our family stripped away from us, my friends stripped away from us. This is just a stark reminder again for me. Jesus, it's, as Mike would say, it's not Jesus plus, it's just Jesus. And that's just been the central theme for me that God has been convicting me of. And just, that's it, man. Just in my personal times of pursuit, it's the worship songs that's just really hitting me hard. It's just those songs that says, all I really want is you. All I really want is you. That's it. And those are the songs that's just been wrecking me. What I look forward to the most, and Gabe hit on it first and foremost, is I cannot wait to get back in our church, whether it's outside or inside, and worship with our Risen King community. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a supercharged atmosphere. I'm pretty sure spiritually supercharged and emotionally supercharged. I promise you, I'm gonna bring my own personal box of Kleenex. I'm gonna cry every single weekend service. I'm gonna be the guy with puppy eyes, like, oh my God, who is this Asian guy with puppy eyes? It's Pastor Danny. So I can't wait for that. And secondly, I can't wait to build on current relationships at Risen King and to create new friendships at Risen King. Definitely one thing that's become super clear through this coronavirus thing is community is so central to our well-being. And I mean, our faith life is meant to be done in community. And so that's my mission, man. For me personally, I want to build on relationships, create new one, and help others to foster and build new relationships as well. So that's what I'm looking most forward to.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess I've really seen, I've had 2 prayers since September. The first one was I was asking the Lord to make a way for me to be able to spend more time with my kids. And I didn't really see how he was going to do that.
Surprise!
Yeah, because I love my work outside the home. I love it, and we also need it. And so I thought, okay, don't take that away from us, but how can I also expand this and really like be with my kids? And our youngest is entering this season of just like every day it's something new. And when I looked ahead, all I could see was I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. And so I was praying that. And then the other thing I was praying was, God, how are you going to make this introvert, like 100% introvert, how are you going to make me develop friendships among the parents in our town, among my kids' friends' parents? And I thought, I don't want to really expend the effort to do that. So how is this going to happen? How am I going to make friends in our town? And then how will you pave a way of ministry for us to put down roots here and to expand the kingdom here? And I've been jealously praying for revival to start here in our town, in our county. And we'll let it wash over to Risen King across the river. And so those were my prayers in September. And then came March 13th, my last day in the office. And I've been working, but from home. I've been schooling my kid. I've been watching my younger one develop in all the magical ways that she does. And what started out as, hey, I just want to keep the kids reading. I started this the Zoom reading group for some of her classmates. And now I'm like Facebook BFF with all these parents and have inside jokes with people in town. It's amazing. And so, I look back now and I'm like, wow, God answered every prayer that I prayed since September. And it's in the midst of a pandemic. And it just shows me like he takes the ugliest things and he brings great beauty out of it. So
yeah.
I have seen God move, and that gives me hope to ask for the future. God, would you also move and bring us to humility and repentance? And would you heal our land? Like, I don't care about vaccines. I don't care about all that. Like, if it's good for me, I'll take it. Thank you for making doctors and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I just feel like, Jesus, you can bypass all that if you want, and you can just bring healing.
Yeah.
And so I want to be part of the wave that is humble and repentant. And Lord knows every day there's much for us as a people and as a country to repent of. And so I want to engage in that, and I want to keep doing that. And I want to be part of the wave that brings forth the Lord's miraculous healing of our land. So that we never have to deal with this again, and we never have to be separated like this again.
Amen. That's really good, Kat. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. It really is exciting to me because even though I feel like it's hard sometimes for us to see the other side of this, like I said before, we know there is another side of this. And so I feel like the fact that even all of us are united in pursuing after that revival, the coming fruit of what's ahead, I feel like something awesome is going to happen. And we had a staff retreat in January that was a lot of fun. We ate way too many calories and played a lot of card games together. But Lisa shared at the time just how much she wanted to see revival. And that picture of Lisa, you guys remember Lisa sitting in her chair all curled up? That picture has been in my mind of her just saying, I want to see revival. And I feel like that's something to hold on to in the midst of the craziness of every day, of what oftentimes feels like Groundhog's Day, of doing the same thing over and over again, and the schooling of the kids and all the time together, which I agree. It's like, it's time that we'll never get back. And it's time that it's funny to think that you have to stop and appreciate that this is time that we wouldn't have had before with our families. And so there is beauty in the midst of the chaos, and we just have to be really intentional to kind of stop and see it and hold on to that picture of the revival that I believe will come. And I think that we all believe we'll see in our day. And so that is exciting. So thank you guys for doing this interview. It has been fun. I think you guys are awesome. And I would love to stuff my face with Reese's and play FaceTime with you again real soon. So yes. All right. So I'm going to stop recording. Thank you guys.